Hello again from the floor of my attic room. Just another little chat today, and might be the same tomorrow, though I am heading out in just a few minutes to go start to meet some people here in the Raleigh area. So I'm going to be meeting up with Rhiannon Futch for a little while, just the two of us, and then we're going to head over to our meeting spot. So if you're planning to meet up in Raleigh today and you didn't get an email, please email me, sarah@heartbreathings.com, and I'll tell you the location. We're meeting up from 3 to 6 p.m. this afternoon, and I think there's going to be 20 to 30 people there, so it's going to be really fun, and I will definitely try to get some recording of that, but I'll see if I share that tomorrow or the day after. But what I thought we would talk about today is future writing plans for 2024. So I will be having another live stream like I do every year called, planning your 2024 writing year. And it's going to come with a free little workbook, and we're going to go through the process. And I am going to be talking a little bit more this year about something that I call a game board strategy. So I think I talked about this a little bit last year, but I'm going to talk about it more in depth this year. But basically, now we are down to the final week-ish of NaNoWRIMO. And this is just 1 month, obviously, out of 12. And it is a great time to be really thinking about our writing and committing to it and making sacrifices and all of that. But the way that we write in November isn't always sustainable for the whole year. And some people otherwise don't participate in NaNoWRIMO because they say, well, NaNoWRIMO is every month for me. And some people easily write 50,000 words a month, but we're all different in our progress. And writing fast doesn't make someone any better than someone who writes deliberately and slowly and really thinks through some things. And writing fast doesn't mean that you're not thinking through or that you're not putting thought into it or you're not taking care with it. It's just that we all have our own individual process and our own individual sustainable pace. And it gets so easy in this day and age to watch what everyone else is doing and compare ourselves to someone else's sustainable pace. And I talk about this, I know, a lot, but I think it particularly comes to importance when we start thinking about planning the next year. Let me know in the comments if you do plan out your next year in advance, or if you're following HB90 and you just think about the next 90 days, every 90 days or every quarter you plan for the following quarter, or if you have kind of a long-term strategy that you've been thinking about. So something I've been developing for myself over the past year or so, really putting some thought into it, developing a system, which I'll share with you here, is a game board strategy for long-term planning. Because something that has become increasingly I have become increasingly aware of, is the fact that as much as I have big dreams and lots of things that I want to do, as much as I watch other people and admire what they're doing and think, oh, that would be really fun, or that's something I would like to try, there's also, there's that dream life, that dream productivity. And then there's reality. And sometimes they match up and sometimes they don't. And what the biggest struggle is for me, and I know for so many of my students in HB90 and so many of you here on this channel, is that we see the infinite possibilities of the things that we would like to do, the things that we feel would take us to the next level, or the things we feel would make our lives easier or more enjoyable, making more money, doing this fun thing, being able to quit our job, being able to spend more time with the people that we love. There's, everyone has their own things that they desire or they wish that their life could be. And we see this whole buffet of all the ways that other people seem to be moving toward that life. And because we don't have a crystal ball that will tell us this is the path that you should take that will get you to making $100,000 a year as a writer. Like, for example, let's say I'm sitting here and my goal let's say I'm a brand new writer and my goal is to eventually make $100,000 as a writer and be able, like a year, and be able to quit my full-time job and support my family and be able to travel or be able to buy a home or whatever it is. So I know that's like my dream life is $100,000 a year. But if I sit and think about that end and I try to sort of figure out how do I get there, it's natural for me to start looking around to what everyone else is doing and saying, well, how did other people get to $100,000 a year? And you might see this person who's writing, this particular genre, and they tell a story in a Facebook group about how it only took them 6 months of writing, 30,000 word books every two or 3 weeks. Like, they're putting out, let's say in that 6 months, they put out 8 books that are 30,000 words, and they did this, and they started a direct sales store, and they, started this website, and they started doing TikToks, 6 TikToks a day. So you see this strategy, and immediately human nature for many of us, I know we're not all the same, but for many of us goes, oh, that's something maybe I need to do. But sometimes you look at that and you're like, oh, but that's not what I want to do. But maybe because this person, that's how they did it. Maybe that's how I have to do it. And so then we start compromising what it is will bring us joy to just get to that end result of the 100,000, because we saw an example of it and our brain says that's how you do it. But the truth is that there are 100,000 paths to $100,000. There are people that have subscriptions that are making $100,000. There are people who are writing, epic length fantasies, and they only put out one a year, and they're making $100,000. There are people that are making $100,000 solely launching on Kickstarter. There are people making $100,000 just doing YouTube full time and, promoting their books that way. Like, there are so many paths, but sometimes when we look at all the paths, it can, one, get so overwhelming. Like, what if I choose wrong? What if I choose this path like this other person did, but I can't do it well enough? Or if we're not overwhelmed or scared, we are compromising and we say, oh gosh, well, I have to be on TikTok. I have to do Kindle Unlimited. I have to write this genre because this is the trendy genre. And I have to write really fast, and I have to do it this way, because we've seen so many examples on social media of people that have found success that way. We don't listen to our own inner voice, and instead we say, I have to do these things even if that's not what I want to do. And sometimes we don't look further out and say, but is this what I want to do for the rest of my life? So some people will say, well, this is what I'll do for now, and then when I get that $100,000, I'll shift into a different genre. But the problem with that is you don't just maintain 6 figures because you hit it once. There takes work to maintain that level of income. So you can't just say, now that I'm making $100,000, I have the freedom to start a whole new pen name, because you still have to maintain this one. And we don't have unlimited resources and time to start whole new businesses. So that doesn't always work out. And sometimes that can lead to more burnout, to more frustration, to lack of joy, because you're not really writing what you wanted to write, or you're not really being in the world the way that you wanted to be. So if any of this is resonating with you, hi, welcome to my YouTube channel, because I know that this is something, if this does not resonate with you and you're on your own path and you are confident taking your own path and you don't compare yourself to others and you know exactly what you want, then please tell us your advice in the comments or make your own YouTube channel, because we all want to hear what you're doing. Because I know there are some of you that are like that. You're very confident in your path. You're happy doing what you do, and you're confident taking the path that feels right and aligns for you. But I think for so many of us, including me, part of the struggle of future planning is there are unlimited possibilities, unlimited things that we want to do. We don't always know which path is going to take us to the result that we want. And so we just keep piling things on our plate. Like, okay, well, I'll try this and I'll do direct sales. And just yesterday I was talking about, I want to do Kickstarters and a subscription, and I still want to do my courses, and I want to do this and this and this. And sitting here right now, I can imagine that I could do all of those things. Like, why not? Like, if I was in my most positive, like, I call it like Pinterest happy planner mode, then I could imagine that in 2024, I could write 4 or 5 books. I could keep my YouTube going at this same rate. I could release a new course or continue to run the courses that I have. I can continue to work on the planners, continue to edit all my own videos. And I also would love at that point to imagine that I could exercise and get my body just feeling really great and like lower my inflammation with PCOS and just like have so much energy that I could, use 12 different planners and just really enjoy that process. And I'd spend plenty of time with my family, read all the books on my TBR, and still find time for gaming and travel, of course, and speaking engagements and all the things that people want from me or expect from me and all the things that I want to do. And it's like, that is the magic of New Year planning, is we feel like all those possibilities are on the table, and they are, but we have to work within the confines of, one, our own interest and skill, what habits we currently have in place, because so often we imagine, oh, I'm going to read every day, or I'm going to get on the treadmill every day, but we don't actually have that habit yet. And so we're planning as if January 1st, we just magically will have adopted that planet by sheer force of desire and willpower. And that doesn't really work, does it? Like, we all know it doesn't work. And yet we still, some of us continue to act as if this year will be the year, right? This is the year I'll write 1,000 words every morning, or this is the year the sun approves, the sun agrees. It's like, yes, Sarah, I agree with that statement. We do. We think the sun will shine down on us this year. This is the year that I will be good enough. This is the year that I will follow through. But what we're missing is that we're putting all these extra things on our plate, all these extra expectations, without actually being able to add to our 24 hours in a day. And also, in addition to the sheer time that we have available or don't have available, we also can't act as our most beauteous, radiant self every single day. We're going to have days where we wake up with anxiety, or days where our kids are sick, or days where we have, cold, or we have a headache, or days where we just don't freaking feel like it. Like, we've been working too hard and it just cannot bring the energy today. I can't do it. There are days like that. And when we fill our schedule so full that we say, these are the things I have to follow through with in order to get this result way up here. And then we have like a few days of good. And then we hit a day where we're like, I can't perform all these things that I said I was going to do. And then this result seems to get a little further away and a little further away. We begin to build negative momentum in our lives, more exhaustion. We take away our own permission to rest and to chill and to love ourselves just as we are. So what's the solution? I feel like I keep taking these really deep breaths because I'm like trying to integrate this lesson into my own body. So it's like, what's the solution for this? And I firmly believe, not to plug my own course, but I believe that HB90 is a piece of the solution. Like, it doesn't have to be HB90, but just finding some kind of planning method that helps you to truly compare the amount of time you have with the amount of stuff you're putting on your plate in some way. Like, just any type of method that helps you do that, I think, is part of it. Because when we plan from a place of like, every day is sunny skies and every day is the perfect day, and I have 3 whole months or a whole year to really make this my year, we don't take into account often how much or how little time we actually have to work on those goals, or how many days we end up not feeling like it, or not being able to follow through, or being sick, or having distractions. And I think that adds so much anxiety to our plate, because it's like, I want this thing and I feel that I have to be this person in order to get this life. Like, I have to write this amount of books in order to have this kind of income or this life. And sometimes that is true. Like, we do have to show up and write the books and put the work in. But it's difficult when we don't take the big picture of, yes, we're putting the work in here, but we also have to build the website and do this thing and do this thing and do this thing. So while I'm building this, what am I going to have to sacrifice over here? Sometimes we're happy to sacrifice those things for a brief period of time, and sometimes we're just not. And so this is never going to be possible for us in the way that we think it will, because we are not willing to make these sacrifices over here. We're not willing to sacrifice our health. We're not willing to sacrifice our mental health. We're not willing to be in a state of stress all the time. We're not willing to work, 18 hours in the day and be stressed a lot. Not that this always takes that, but I don't know how well I'm explaining this, but just to say that it's, we have the dream, and when we take our true time into consideration and we start thinking, how do I want to feel on a daily basis? And how can I create habits or routines? Or how can I create, a mental state for myself? And how can I create future goals that allow me to feel the way I want to feel and still consistently work toward my goals every day without stressing myself out, without pushing myself to the limits? And it seems like in order to hit this big goal and be this person and make this much money, that we have to add all these things onto our plate or else, right? But I think that what I'm coming to realize for myself for this next year is the more I put on my plate, the less likely I am to ever truly get to this place feeling good. I hope I said that correctly or I hope I said that in a way that some of you will understand, because I don't want this life. I would love to make 7 figures a year. That sounds amazing. And I know there are authors who do it, but I don't want that life if I'm miserable all the time. And I would much rather make $100,000 or less and have a smaller house or, whatever else. As long as I can feel safe, I would love to have less and be happy. So I think there's always this balance in my head of like, I don't want to sell myself short and I don't want to play small, but I also don't want to push myself to a limit of I'm miserable and everyone around me is miserable and everything feels like a struggle all the time. I want to find that balance where I can feel happy and joyful as often as I can. It's not a possibility to feel that way all the time, every day. Or maybe it is, and I just haven't gotten there yet, because I feel like we all have good and bad days. But when I start thinking about my future plan and my future writing for next year and my future of YouTube for next year, I'm starting to think about how can I do less and get more out of it? How can I do less and move the needle more? How can I do less and be more joyful without losing momentum? And so for part of this, I'm going to talk about this some in the HB90 kickoff call. So come join us. Registration opens on Sunday. So I can't believe we're already to the final HB90 class of the year to start planning 2024. So if you're in that, come join us. I've also been thinking about doing maybe a 2-day workshop on game board strategy and long-term planning. So if you're interested in that, let me know in the comments and I can try to put that together. The time-wise, I'm just not sure if I could do it before HB90, so it might have to happen after HB90, which seems kind of out of whack because it's like plan your next 90 days and then plan your next 5 years. But maybe I'll do it in early January. We'll see. But I'm feeling really passionate about this, and I feel like I found a method for myself that's working for that. But I'm also, all these things are on my mind. And I know this is just another kind of rambly chat, but let me know if some of this resonated for you, because I feel like as we start to wrap up NaNoWRIMO with whatever goal we had and however successful we were, we kind of get an idea now of what we're going to be capable of with our writing or our goals or other things like that in 2024. And I think for me, I'm starting to think about, I have all this stuff I want to accomplish, but how can I do it in the most efficient, joyful, realistic and sustainable way possible? How can I accomplish or continue to accomplish and build momentum in a positive way in my life and still feel good and still be taking care of my body and my health? And that feels like a riddle in some ways, because we've all been taught you have to work harder to get more, right? You have to work harder, you have to work more hours to get more result. But I know that's not necessarily true, because I have had so many years where I have slowed down and made more money, slowed down and had more impact, slowed down, been more joyful. And so I feel like 2024 is another year where I'm going to level up to that next phase of it. And I'm going to hopefully share that with you as we go. So, all right, I'm going to head out and go meet Rhiannon here in just a little bit. Hopefully I will see some of you in Raleigh today. This is going to be so much fun. I had said I was wearing black jumpsuit, but I'm actually wearing a green dress and a denim jacket and my favorite hat. So Drive safely if you're coming to meet us. If you're not able to come to Raleigh, because I know we have such a global audience here, hopefully I will get a chance to meet you someday because you're important to me and I value all of you. Thank you for listening to me ramble. My goal at this point, I've had a couple of days of no writing. I probably will not write today, but tomorrow's Thanksgiving and we're mostly just hanging out with family. And I think we're going to have kind of an expansive evening of just nothing. And so I'm going to do some writing tomorrow and I'm going to work on the HB90 planner so I can get that up next week as well. So it's going to be hopefully, another rest and fun day today, and then a little bit of productivity before I get home because I do still have a story to write. But other than that, it has been really nice. We went bowling with friends yesterday and it was just fun and relaxing, and we all slept in today, and I'm feeling refreshed and excited for the day. So thanks for listening yet again. Thanks for hanging out. I'm going to finish my coffee and head out. Let me know your thoughts on this and kind of how you've been thinking about your planning for 2024. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.